Welcome to the channel. I want to tell you a little about my background and my background story of 25 years of training. I started workout in a pretty early age. I was around 13 years old in 2000 or at the year around 2000 and 2001. That is the year when I start to go to the gym. Before the gym, I had did a lot of sports. I was doing boxing and I was doing football and I also did table tennis. So I have always been kind of active and I always been liking sports a lot. But something changed and unfortunately I have an injury to my knee in 98 or 99 and I got to have a surgery and because I was not full grown yet, I could not get my knees fixed before I was 18 years old. So in that time, I was like, okay, what I'm gonna do now because I like this sports and I like to be active. And I remember my father in that time he was saying to me, there was opening up some gym in the small city in a local small gym and in around 1000 and 2001 gyms was not that common in Denmark and I remember when I was there for my first time and my first gym session it was like what the hell am I doing here? I thought it was so weird to not be a part of a group and don't have a coach. They was playing some old classics in the radio with commercials and everything. Um, I didn't have headphones. I didn't have smartphone, so this was actually the option for me to listen to this music. And I remember the audience there. It was like old people, a lot of people on pension. They was there. So as a young kid, I was like, what is this and what is all this about? I know a little about it, but not that much. And I was like, what I'm gonna do? And I know the guy who was working there was also a little older guy, and I was asking him, but is there a kind of program or what do I do? And he was basically looking at me and saying, yeah, you're coming here 3 times a week and you're just going for all the machines around. And I was like, all the machines 3 times a week. How does this make any sense? I think there was around 50 machines. So I was like, should I should I be able to do 50 machines in one gym workout? And I was like, this sounds pretty weird. And then I was asking him, yeah, but how long do I continue? Till you feel like it is enough. So I was like, and I was comparing it so much to my boxing training because that was not like where I could say like, you can take 10 reps and that is enough for you. No, there you have to do as many as possible in a certain time to the coach say, stop, now you are done. So for me this was very weird and I know this guy was working in this place. He was also smoking and everything, and I was like, "What is this lifestyle? This is pretty weird." So it actually took me a lot of time to really know what was all this about. So, and this was pretty in my pretty early teens. So I was trying to figure everything out. There was some fitness magazines, some Danish fitness magazines, but it was not like something you was like, wow, I can really get something out of this. That was more about group trainings, trying to eat healthy. I remember there was a lot of this soya protein was they was talking a lot about that in that time, and I was like, what is this? Um, Protein powder and that kind of stuff was not really common. So I didn't really know anything about supplements in this time or anything else. So I was like, how should I start this? And in the beginning, it was pretty boring. I was pretty bored when I was there because I was looking at this old people who was sitting and drinking coffee. This one who was working there was out to smoke some cigarettes. and I was like, what is going on? And in that time, I was going after school, so it was being around 2 o'clock, or sometimes earlier, and that was the kind of audience there was there. I tried a little, but it was like on and off, and I could not really see the purpose because I missed this kind of group training that you have a coach and everything. But as a kid, I always had a lot of energy, so I got to figure it out why, how to spend this energy in a good way, and I like to do sports, so it was like, I maybe I have to try to figure something out. And then I remember some days I was starting to go a little later to the gym, around 4 or 5, and there actually was some other people, some not like young like me, but guys in their late 20s or start 30s, and they was there, and in Denmark it's like pretty easy and to ask. So I was like, okay, I can see some of these guys who's working out here. They are actually getting something out of this training. So I was like, okay, I start to be a little curious, and I was asking them how they was training and everything, and that time it was like this mindset: you just have to go heavy as possible, non-stop. That was the most important. Add kilos, add kilos, add kilos. So I was like, okay, but and and then one guy was asking me, but how do you sleep? I said, oh, yeah, you need to have your sleep. How are you eating? I'm saying, and that time I was not even eating breakfast. I was maybe eating two meals a day max. So I was like, yeah, but you need to eat a breakfast. Okay, so what for breakfast? Yeah, eat some eggs and some oatmeal. And then I was like, okay, maybe because my trainings so far has been like a roller coaster, up and down, up and down. Good energy, bad energy, good energy, bad energy. So there was not like some maintenance. And and then I was thinking, okay, maybe this has something to do. Maybe this can make a change for me. And I started to eat better, and then it becomes more interesting. And I was like, okay, this is actually a little fun. And then I start to starting, and then I actually figured it out. There was a lot of stuff in around this, about the body, about the mental health, about the supplements, about the eating. And I think here we are around, we will in around 2007. So this has been like 6 years already where it has been like this, trainings up and down, up and down. So here I'm like 20 years old, and I think in that time I started really to think that was funny. So it actually took me, yeah, 6 7 years before it's really start to get anywhere. So it was a long journey for me. In that time I was having like a blue man color work, so that was a pretty physical work as a plumber. So um, so that was my basic work in that time. So I was working every day, and then when I have off work, I was going to the gym. And in this time, I was training around 5 times every week, and I also learned how to schedule and do the programs and say, do this muscle group this day, do that, do like a split program for the muscle and for the training. So that for me also helped a lot, and it's getting a lot more funnier, and a lot of my friends also started to think this was actually fun, and there was some challenge. Always about who can bench the most, who can who can take the most amount of kilos, who can do most repetitions. So there became a little competition and also camaraderie, because in Denmark we was that in that gym I was training in, we was there was like a lot of people, and there was very social, and everybody was talking, everybody was helping each other out. So for me, well, that was also a nice time. I could easily spend 3 hours in the gym, maybe 2 hours of training, 1 hour of training, but then the other time was actually just socializing, asking, having a good time. um, I was not using computers and everything and stuff like that so much. So most of my knowledge come from the magazines and from other people who was working out in that time. My nutritions in that time was protein, and protein powder became a very big stuff and very big thing in Denmark in around 2008. And in that year, I was like, okay, and everybody was saying, you got to have this powder, you got to have this powder if you want to do anything. And it was like everybody was now they was not talking so much of the food anymore, but they was actually talking about the powders, the supplements. And I remember when I started to use protein powder and supplements, that something in my body was not feeling very nice. I feel like bloated. I feel like really uncomfortable. I feel like my stomach was like blowing up all the time. Maybe in that time I should have stopped up and said maybe this is not good for me. But everybody was saying no. If you want to do anything, you got to drink these powders. And in that time I was not very much into what was actually they was putting in this powders and nothing like that. And I think it has been around when I was 25, like 14 years ago. I started to watch a little a YouTube channel, and then I saw this guy who was training, and he was saying he was not using these supplements at all. And he was huge. He was training guy, and he was even competing. And he was saying before the competitions and everything, I will not do supplements at all because it's it's having so much effects on my body, so I cannot control it. So, but this professional bodybuilders in that time, they was actually promoting this, and they were saying everybody's promoting this, but they are not using them themselves. What is this about? And then I was like, if they don't need it, why should I need it? So I actually get back to the normal food in that time. So I totally cut off the supplements. So no protein powder anymore, and immediately it was actually pretty quick. I start to feel a lot better and a lot better in my stomach, and I had a lot of better workouts again. Of course, it was a little harder to eat all these meals because I got to have a lot of meals, and that was also the time when I was stuck in around. I think my weight was in that time around 89 kilos, and I was pretty stuck about this amount of kilos. But then I was like, okay, what can I do? And then I saw this eating calories to pump up the calories, and I pumped up the calories in that time to 8 or 9,000 calories every day, and that was a pretty hard to start. This to eat all these calories every day, to prepare all this food every day, it was pretty hard, but I gained a lot of kilos. Not muscle, but a lot of fat also. My trainings was very good. I had so much energy. The tough one was actually to eat. I have like eight to 10 meals a day, and I continued this program for like almost 2 years straight. And I went up from 89 to 105 kilos in 2 years. So I put on 16 kilos in around 2 years. So it still takes time. And then I was like, maybe I can go even further. So I was like, okay, now I will go to try to eat 10,000 calories a day, and that was when I gained most of the shitty kilos. Then started really to become fat because the cardio was not a big deal to me. I was like, cardio was a little boring. So I actually went up and I hit 117 kilos. And that for me was very uncomfortable and not very nice. I was way too heavy. I could barely breathe, and I didn't feel good. I was big for my size. I am 180 centimeters high. So to have all these kilos on me, that was not comfortable, and I was like, I start to miss a little to be like have a little more normal and to be like I can breathe. Also from my boxing and everything, I know it's like not to be mobile and be tired just to go up a stairs. So that was like no. So I think I probably was around 30 when I was thinking no, I want to cut back on the calories, and actually that was pretty hard too because now my body was like so used to have all this calories, all this food. So I pumped it down to around 5,000 calories, but pretty fast. I should maybe consider that a little more, but I was like, no, I will try. And I was feeling hungry non-stop. Um, so that was actually a tricky one, but my kilos start to drop down pretty fast. So I was pretty fast on 110 kilos. It didn't took so long. So go the other way was actually easier for me than to get up. It took a lot of years to get all these kilos on, but to get them off was it was it was actually pretty fast to lose the kilos. And of course the workouts and everything is that was I could not consist the same energy level. It was a little hard for me to stay in this 2 to 3 hours because now I didn't have, and I also think a lot of this was mental. In that time, I was thinking, no, I didn't eat so much, so I can only train for 45 minutes. So a lot of this training is about mental, and it's about how you are thinking. I figured that out also a little later. So pass forward for today when I am doing totally different. I'm 39 to now, and I have been working out for now 26 years. Different diets, different programs, supplements, no supplements. Today I'm almost only sticking to my pre-workout, and that's just for me to giving a little extra boost when I'm coming into to the gym. But else, last year I cut off totally alcohol, so I'm not consuming any alcohol. And 4 months ago, I also quit sugar completely. And I will actually say, in this 26 years of training, this has been the biggest difference to my body and my health. This has made me so much better. My trainings are better, my sleep is better, my energy is a lot better. And if I can give any suggestion, that is try this for yourself. This very that helped me so much to cut out this stuff. I'm thinking, why didn't I cut this out earlier? Why I have this that I can grab a couple of beers, or yeah, I can hang out to a club or some cafe or something and have beers, baba wine and all this kind of stuff. And also for the sugar, I was actually containing and eating a lot of sugar. I was not even so much aware, but in all the food today there is sugar. So so now it's actually a little difficult to find good groceries without all these sugars. But that has made a big change for me. That is actually the one who has making the biggest change in the last 26 years of all the programs and all the training and all the stuff I have been doing. That is this is one I can feel the most, that I cut that stuff out. I'm also not training as much like I was doing in my 20s, but around 4 times a week, 3 to 4 times I like to be there in around 1 hour. Um, I added a little more cardio into my workouts. I start to enjoying that a little more. Um, I never thought I will start to enjoy this, but that has actually become a little more fun. And then, of course, this outdoor workouts is also have make a big change. Um, and I actually think this outdoor workout was also one of the reasons why I actually started to think about, nah, maybe I should also quit this other stuff, because I was never like before considering myself like, it's good to go outdoor to work out or anything. I was more like, no, I'll go to the gym. I will stick with that one. But I actually like that one a lot, and I get a lot of energy, this fresh air and everything. So that was also a very big change for me. So I think the conclusion on this video, that is, just try to do something little different. If something's not working out for you, try to do something else, and feel how you're feeling in your body, especially also for the training, because you can feel it pretty fast if you are getting bad sleep, if you are getting unhealthy food, if you are drinking, if you are putting a lot of bad stuff into your body will pretty fast have a reaction, and you can feel it on your energy and your energy level. So that has actually been the biggest change for me in all these programs and all this trainings. Of course, sometimes I miss the old days where I could train 3 hours a day, but I'm just now in an age where I have to be a little more careful, and I am training for now for maintenance to be able to do this hopefully many years to come, because I still like this. It is a form of addiction when you get into this. So for me, I cannot really consider my life without doing this. It has been such a big part of me and my life. So nowadays I cannot really see myself not doing it. And I don't know really else what to do. But I like to mix it up. I like to challenge myself with new kind of programs, other kinds of workouts, and don't get stuck so much in the same mindset. I remember a lot when I was younger, I had this mindset where it's like, no, I got to stay to this program because people are saying this program is good. And I was like, and I was so much believing in this kind of stuff that no, if I'm doing everything else, it will be bad for me. If I'm doing this exercise, I heard some people were saying this was not good. So if I'm doing it, it will ruin my workout or my training. Or especially when I went in my teen years, I was so stuck in some programs that was like, no, I have to start with this exercise. If I cannot start with this exercise, my whole training is ruined. Um, and I think I had that also because of my boxing. It's like you had this program, and if you was little outside of the program, you was not doing it right. But that's also took so this training and this form of life. It's giving so much, and you can change so much about it. But actually, the most important thing that is to listen to your body. How is your body? How is this reacting? Are you getting enough of proteins, and are you getting enough of healthy and real food? And today I'm having 4 meals a day. All is considered in high proteins, so all my meals is on high protein. I like that the most, and it's also making the biggest difference for me also in the energy. And I have cut down my carbs a lot, so I'm not consuming so many carbs. And some days I don't consume any carbs at all. That is only clean. You can call it carnivore diet. But some days I will only eat meat, for example, and some eggs. I know there is a little carbs in them, but that is also one thing who's helping me a lot to like having smaller meals. And I don't say you should do that in your 20s. In your 20s, I think eat 6 or 7 meals. Okay, you can do that because you have another body in that time, and you are also consuming faster and burning more calories than you're doing in your later life. So I cut a little down on the calories also, and today I'm around pretty much on the same weight all year round, around 103 and 106 kilos. That is with a little variation. So, but it is around that amount. I'm not going high up in kilos, and I'm not going low on the kilos. So I'm normally stable around 103 and 104. Sometimes it's going a little up, sometimes it's going a little down. But that is also, for me, it's also a good way to control my weight, to don't have this, I call it like balloon, like going up, going down, going up, going down. It also helps me a lot. So I think this will be it for today. I know there is a lot of talking, and for of course 25 years, 26 years of training, of diets, of trying different stuff. There is so much to tell, but this was a little about my story and my journey, and where I started out and why I'm doing what I'm doing today. If you're feeling this is interesting, I can really recommend you to try that out, especially also if you're a little older, like me, or maybe you are in the 40s or something like that, to try to have high protein meals and cut all the bad stuff out. Of course, you have heard this a million times before, but this is actually making a change. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.